Wait. Before we even start, are you ready? Yes.
I'm ready.
Great.
This is recording, right?
You took a drink immediately afterwards.
We're not like some uptight TV show or something. This is like the internet.
Why don't you want to be called producer? I don't know. Go. I'm just kidding. Go.
Okay. Now, I forgot what I was about to say, but I think it was something to the effect that welcome back to another exciting edition of The Decline and Fall of America, starring Jim Greenfield, formerly known as The Jim Greenfield Show, starring Jim Greenfield and my producer, Stuart Rice. This is the inspiring story of one man's love affair with himself. That's a new liner I came up with. I like it. Anyway, before I get to any of my serious topics, you had something you wanted to bring up, Stuart?
Are you really going to let me talk? I mean, last episode, I don't think I said more than 12 words. So
no, you didn't say enough.
Am I allowed to talk? Am I allowed to talk this time?
Well, within reason. If you start going on too long and I get bored, I'm naturally.
Sure, I think you'll definitely get bored with this one.
I don't think so. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. McCrae Game. McCrae Game. Can we talk about this gentleman?
Is that who I think it is? Is that the guy who had the camps? The camps for
the conversion camps. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. What do you got to say about that? Before I even talk about it, because I'm curious. I don't know if everybody's going to know this story. We'll fill in later, but I want to just see what's your hot take on this one.
My feeling is, if I hear about some guy who's running gay camps, even if it's for the purported purpose of helping the gays to go straight, my first reaction is, what could go wrong? It's like, what? You're going to get a bunch of gay boys together and say, well, now, boys, now that you're all with each other here at the camp, without your parents here to supervise, we're going to help you go straight. Yeah, I don't think so. Doesn't sound like a formula for success to me.
Well, I wonder what your opinion would have been a week and a half ago. It might have been different. Really?
No, I didn't even know about I hadn't heard of those camps.
Oh my gosh.
But when you tell me the guy's gay, it's like I'm thinking, big surprise. Who knows what was going on at those camps? Like
that's seriously your reaction.
Hey, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. Is he a minister?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
No.
Hey, parents, why don't you send your teenage boys to me, and I'll help them go from gay to straight. Yeah, I don't think he's Catholic. I tell you something. I wouldn't let my kid go near someone like that.
Well, they probably wouldn't talk to your kid because your kid would be gay then. Look, just to fill in the listeners,
I wouldn't let my son go to a gay camp run by a man. Same reason I wouldn't want him to go on a camping trip with a gay scoutmaster.
Wouldn't you be more concerned with the fact that it's a pedophilia? That's a pedophile? Not that they're gay, but they're a pedophile? That would be the problematic.
A lot of overlap.
Don't know if I agree with that statement, and I don't think
I read it
to back it up, so I'm going to let it go. Anyway,
I read it in a book many years ago called "Are Gay Rights Right?" I don't remember the name of the author, but he claimed that it was based on studies that showed that the gay men are 30 times more likely to be pedophiles than heterosexual men. Is that number right? I have no idea. Maybe he made it up.
Yeah, I like that you're just going to state it as fact, though.
Yeah, well.
So for people who don't know the story, McCrae Game is the founder of a South Carolina-based conversion. They call it a ministry, a therapy ministry. Yeah. It's called Hope for Wholeness. What it is for the last 20 years, McCrae Game. McCrae. Yes, Game? The spelling bees are so good on podcasts, by the way.
Yeah. What was the last name?
Game. Like, I like to play a game. Like, you're playing with me right now. You're interrupting my statement to break up my point.
I'm ringing the interruption bell on myself. Go ahead. That's how fair-minded I am.
All right. So anyway, it's a ministry. It's Hope for Wholeness, and what he's done is for the last 20 years. No, yeah, he was ousted in 2017,
Oh,
probably for this reason.
yeah.
But he founded it 20 years ago. I can convert your gay son or daughter into not gay.
Yeah.
And then comes out at this point as gay.
Yep.
So I'm actually not even going to talk about whether gay is right or gay is wrong. That is not my interest in this topic, because I have my opinion on that, and I'm not changing anybody's minds. But this is kind of the interesting thing is I feel this gentleman should be treated as for assault on every single one of these kids that he tried to help, because he obviously did it under false pretenses. He made these kids go through this conversion therapy, which, and this has been well cited, does cause mental damage to people. And he did it for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people. I feel like this is a criminal offense.
Okay.
So here's an interesting twist, Jim. I'm saying, yeah, he's homosexual. He should be thrown in jail.
Where he could meet a lot of other homosexual men. It'd be a great place for him. I'm sure he'd be happy there.
You know what? You should talk to some ex-cons and say that exact same thing.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, if you put me in a jail, a women's prison, I think I could handle it. It'd be like, yeah, it's not.
I don't think you could.
You can't go out to restaurants, so that's a downside. But being surrounded by women, I don't know, might not be that bad.
Well, all right. You just keep derailing. I love it. You just keep going down that path. Ask me to bring up a topic, and then you're just going to ignore it. I totally get it.
Not going to. I'll come back to what you said. Okay, so I don't know about this camp. Don't know anything about it. I don't know what techniques they were supposedly using for to try to convert gay youth to go straight. Did they have boys and girls there both? Or was it just boys? You don't know. So I don't know what techniques they were using. I don't know whether it was a sincere effort or whether this guy was like a fraud from the beginning. Maybe he just wanted access to a lot of gay teenage boys. I don't know. Maybe he was sincerely trying to use this therapy. Maybe he believed it. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I mean, I haven't read the story even. Do you know the answers to any of those questions?
Sure. So as far as saying which ones are phony and which ones are real, what would you say is an acceptable percentage of conversion?
I wasn't saying whether. I was just talking about this one case.
No, I'm making the point for all of them, though. What do you think the conversion rate is?
I don't equate this with let's say a psychologist, right? Somebody's a psychologist, and they believe that they have techniques that could help let's put kids aside for a second, because that brings in another set of issue. But let's suppose an adult homosexual man doesn't want to be homosexual, wants to go straight, and goes to a psychologist who says, yes, there are techniques that can help you go straight. Do you have a problem with that?
Yes.
So would you make that illegal?
Yeah. And in fact, 12 states have.
Yes.
So I've got a couple things I've got on my side is, in this case, I actually have science, because they have done studies and found that these things are harmful to people. Whether it converts them or not, it is not healthy mentally. And the other thing is, the success rate is 18%, And they find that 50% of that 18% is actually bisexual. So we've got really less
What
than a
percent-
10%,
what
50% of the 18%.
is bisexual?
Yeah.
What percent of the 18% is bisexual?
50%.
50%. Okay, so you're saying that there's a scientific study that says 18% success rate, and half of that
Are bisexual.
and one half are bisexual, but the 18%, those are people who did successfully transition from being gay to being straight.
Mm-hmm.
But of that 18%, half of them were already bisexual. But those
Half of them were
bisexuals
already
also,
bisexual.
they went from being bisexual to being straight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so based on that, you would make it illegal.
No, based on the fact that they have found it to be mentally harmful to people, that's why it is illegal in 12 states.
Well, okay. So
precedence has been set. So
they have found it to be mentally harmful.
Okay, but I don't want you to go down this. I don't understand why he was obviously operating under fraud. Now, if he was doing this with money, would it be a criminal act? If it's a nonprofit, the answer is yes.
Well, look, you're speaking very hypothetically and very broadly. My feeling is that I don't know what happened in that case, and so I don't really want to talk about it as if I did know.
Well, yeah, you know what? You do this to me every week, Jim. You tell me a bunch of topics, and then I have to come up on the fly. Come up on the fly. That's the whole point here. Don't be 100% correct. Just say what you want to say.
Yeah, I don't. It's just like I don't express opinions about whether somebody is guilty or innocent of a crime unless I know some of the facts. So for that reason, I'm not going to say anything about this case because I don't know any facts.
All right, so that's the end of Stuart's topic.
No, I'm not done. I'm not done.
I think I am, because you're not going to come up with an answer.
You don't want to ask me. You don't want to let me ask you a question about it.
At this point, sure, you can ask me a question, but at this point, you're going to win this argument because you're going to spend a week doing research and then come back next week.
No, right now. Let's do it right now. It's just like, I didn't take serious the allegations against Brett Kavanaugh or allegations against Roy Moore or any of the other people who have been accused of crimes in the context of a political struggle. So, you don't know the facts. So I just don't. I try to avoid.
I don't know why we keep talking about it. Then
no,
I'm kind of done and bored, and so is the listener. You haven't asked the question.
You don't want me to ask the question.
I have asked you to ask me the question twice now. You have not asked me the question.
Pause and stop talking for a moment so I can ask it.
Oh my God! I am going to play back the tape, Jim.
Okay.
And you're going to look like such an idiot.
If you'll stop talking for a minute, I'll ask the question. You say that they have found it to be, this is a correct quote from me from about 2 minutes ago. They have found that is conversion therapy, to be mentally harmful. So I have two questions about that. First of all, who are they?
All right. Can you give me 5 minutes to get all the articles squared away and give you all the citations?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. You don't know. Okay. Second question. How did they, whoever they are, find it to be mentally harmful? No answer to that. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's probably all there is to say.
And that is the first and last of Stuart's topics.
Okay. Well, I mean, I tend to be suspicious when I hear that some unnamed group of people found something to be harmful without knowing what they found to be harmful about it, especially when I suspect that group of people has an agenda. If somebody comes to something completely impartially, with no preconceptions, like a scientist comes to a topic with no preconceptions and does a study, then we can have some level of confidence in his results. Although even that, you normally need to have several studies done by impartial scientists in order to validate the findings of the first one. So people can find a study about almost anything that will validate whatever they want to validate. I mean, chocolate is good for you, wine is good for you, coffee is good for you, whatever. You can find a study, if you are inclined to, that will prove that something you want to prove is correct. Then to go ahead and on that basis to decide, well, we are going to prohibit psychologists or psychiatrists from engaging in any therapy that's designed to help people who want to go straight. To me, that's totally unconstitutional.
That is not. It would be covered under the, I don't know, whatever the American psychological, the American ADA or APA.
Yeah,
the American. I think that in order to start a therapy, because it is seen as a medical field, that you have to have, you can't just willy-nilly go do things PQ without any risk of prosecution.
I'll tell you what, I'll meet you halfway. If a psychiatrist believes that he has a drug that he can use for this conversion therapy, and the drug has not been approved by the FDA, and he wants to prescribe it because he believes that this drug will help somebody convert from gay to straight, yes, I think that would be a problem. But if the therapy consists of conversation, then we have a problem, because there's this thing called the First Amendment, which I think you respect, unlike most of your fellow left-wing wackos. The First Amendment protects free speech. And therefore, if you come to me and say, I'm gay, I've been having, same sex, but I don't really like it. I don't want to be gay. I want to be heterosexual. And I say, okay, well, let's talk about it. Maybe I can help you make that transition. I have a constitutional right to express my opinions and to speak to you about why I think you could do that. And you have a constitutional right to speak to me. First Amendment's absolute. So the state doesn't have the authority to prohibit two consenting adults from having any conversation unless they're plotting a criminal enterprise. The limitation on that is we can't plot together to blow up the Capitol. But if we're just having a conversation where there's an exchange of ideas, no, that's protected by the First Amendment. And hopefully those states that don't see that, that it will be tested in the courts, and we'll find out whether the courts agree with it.
But it has been. I mean,
it hasn't gone to the Supreme Court.
No, because it doesn't evidently. My feeling is there's no way to win it. I don't think how you win it, but I don't really care. That's fine. Okay. We can be done with this topic. I'm sure everybody's bored of it.
Yeah. Well, no. I just say one other thing. If I wanted to help somebody with gay conversion therapy, I don't think I would try to do it based on a religious teaching. I might. That could be part of it. But my sense would be that if somebody is gay, somewhere, in all probability, somewhere along the line, the wires got crossed. Something happened to this person, probably during their adolescence or childhood, that got them kind of off track. They were seduced by somebody, or maybe a boy has a bad experience with a girl and his heart's broken. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe part of it is that when he's in that state of despair, he gets molested by an older teenage boy or whatever. Something like that happens, and he gets off track. So I think that part of the treatment could be to introduce him to the joys of sexuality. And I think it is a innate physiological reaction in probably 99% of men, that the sight of a beautiful, scantily clad woman causes them to feel aroused and excited, and that's a normal reaction. And that even guys who maybe have been gay could still experience that reaction, and that would be where I would start on the path towards getting out of the gay lifestyle and getting straight. I think that could help a lot. But I don't know. That's just theoretical. I don't know whether anybody's tried this or not. But if I were the therapist, I would certainly give that a shot. Okay, I'll let you off the hook. You don't have to respond to that. Thank you for not yelling at me and calling me and cursing and stuff, Stuart. You behaved very well. So the next topic, I better take a little more of this Ayurvedic clear throat remedy. The next topic comes to you from the Reach for My Revolver department. And I was talking in a previous episode about how the left cannot exchange ideas with conservatives, libertarians, people who believe in freedom and free markets, because on substance, they lose the debate. They can't win that debate by having a philosophical and reasoned exchange of ideas. Liberals can't debate. Exactly. I didn't put that up there. Stuart put that up. And so they substitute name calling for debate. If you disagree with me, you're a racist. No logic to it, no explanation of why I'm a racist, except some kind of vague sense that if you don't think the government should, get too big, then you must be a racist. I don't know. I don't quite see the logic in that. But anyway, what they've come up with recently has been this narrative of white privilege. And, they've started just, I don't know, I think this has just started. I just started noticing it probably around the time of the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. But maybe in the last year or so, this intellectual fad has risen on the left of claiming that white people benefit from white privilege. And it's especially directed against white men. And it's especially targeted, for some reason, against older white men. And of course, heterosexual older white men. So being in that category, if I have to be placed in a category, naturally, we white guys take umbrage at this. And I think the reason that it's concerning, I don't really care if some idiot calls me a name and just overly simplistic, obloquy, disparaging remarks based on what group they perceive you to be a member of. But to me, it's when they use terms like white privilege or toxic masculinity or other things like that, what they are trying to do is disparage and denigrate certain categories of people. And they justify this by claiming that people in my group, and by the way, I don't see myself as being in a group. I'm just like, hey, I'm just Jim Greenfield living my life. I don't go around thinking, well, I'm an American and I'm a Republican and I'm a white guy and I'm a Jew and I don't give a shit about that. I'm just a guy living my life, right? But they put people in categories and boxes. And you're a woman of color or a person of color or an immigrant or a Hispanic or a Black or a Native American, which we used to call Indians. They put everybody in groups. Oh, you're a homosexual, you're gay, or you're a lesbian, or you're a transgender. And based on what group they perceive you as being in, that's how they determine how society should treat you. So when they talk about white privilege, it's not just some abstract analysis. It's more about using a disparaging term for a particular group of people for a reason. There's an agenda there. There's an ulterior motive. Now, I feel like if people who aren't white heterosexual men want to blame their failure on my quote unquote privilege and my oppression of them, because their logic is that if I'm successful, that it must be my fault that they're a failure, and that it's because I have white privilege. If they want to believe that and to believe that I'm oppressing them, I really don't give a shit. However, My problem with it is that I know what comes next. Because once you've identified me or us as the villains, see, you're forcing me to join forces with other heterosexual older white men, or just heterosexual white men, or just white men, people of privilege. You're forcing me to join forces with them, because by attacking me based on my membership in what you perceive to be that group, naturally, I, along with other people who you've put in that group, feel like threatened. Hello? Why are you putting us in this group? What's your intention? So once you've identified us as the villain in your fantasy morality play, based on the specious premise that my success is derived from oppressing you, what's the next step? You're seeing me as an oppressor because you think I'm a part of a group that has benefited from a privilege, but from oppressing others? You think that's where it ends? It doesn't. There's another step. You're going to try to right the wrong. And how are you going to right the wrong? You're going to right the wrong by using the power of the government to come after me. How do I know? Because I've seen this movie before. This is what happens historically. They identify some group as being the villain, the oppressor, the exploiter of other groups. And they put targets on him, and they come after him. And that's why I've got my backup. And that's why I keep my shotgun loaded and by the door. But the truth is that I don't really benefit from white privilege. I know you're going to be laughing if you're a liberal. Stuart's probably laughing at that. I, Jim Greenfield, I don't benefit from white privilege. I benefit mostly from high IQ privilege. And the only remedy for that for you, pal, is you're going to have to cut out part of my brain and implant it in your head so that you can be as smart as me. And then you can benefit from high IQ privilege also. Fortunately for me, you're probably too stupid to pull that off. So I guess you'll just have to be content to go through life fat, ignorant, and stupid. By the way, that's a line from Animal House. But you remember the dean says to that one kid, "Fat, ignorant, and stupid is no way to go through life, son." Remember that, Stuart?
Yep. And then he became a senator.
Is he the one who became a senator?
Yep.
What did John Belushi become?
That was John Belushi.
No, he said it to that other kid.
Oh, I thought
that other kid, the one who was like the pledge, like the fat pledge.
Oh, no,
yeah.
I guess I don't remember what that.
That was the kid who said the Negroes stole our dates.
Right. There you go.
This is Jim Greenfield fighting for truth, justice, the American way, and money here on the Decline and Fall of America.